The above ground pool journey has been interesting. 3 years, 2 pools. This is what I can give you. Everything that went good and bad. We tried a bunch of things. We tried this and it worked. We tried this and that worked better than this. Then we tried this and well, I don't know, it still worked, but it might not have been the safest thing. We even tried scuba diving in the pool and that was pretty rad too. And then we also had a bunch of fails. Things that made us lose the pool multiple times and then ultimately resulted in us having to replace the pool entirely. And other things went wrong. Things that I wish I would have known before I ever got this pool. Things I tried out of desperation that still worked miraculously. And then things that are just refined over time that we know now to be better. This is an entire video encompassing everything you should know about one of these pools if you choose to get one. Today we review the 3-year journey of things that went really good versus things that maybe didn't age so well. We also show you some unique products that work really well and would be great for any first year pool owner. So your pool can just stay looking like this without the 3 years of fail. Heads up, we are giving 2 pool pumps away for the kickoff of this video, compliments of Vever. Vever is a giant Amazon seller who has pretty much anything tool-wise that you could ever imagine. If you need it for a project, it's probably there. Their store is monstrous. You just type in Vever pool and all these products come up just by themselves, to include this pool pump, other ones similar to it in either higher or lower horsepower ranges, all kinds of actual utilities and accessories, including that fountain. Everybody loved the fountain. You could just buy one with a remote and install in your pool. But check this out. I was initially going to just install this on my pool, but the fittings are a little too big because this is a much higher horsepower filter than my actual Intex one, so it didn't convert over. But this pump is much more powerful than the pump you saw on my pool, and it will convert over to any in-ground or above-ground pool with the sand filter. If you want this pump, all you have to do is comment on this video, and we will choose 2 lucky winners via response to your comments. I love this pool thing. It's pretty cool. You can make little mods. Our mods that we made since the first one, like this thing, it's a little discolored. Should have painted it instead of staining it. This thing has seen better days, but I put a whole whopping, 15 minutes to make it. Could make something much nicer and more elegant. Probably if I attached it correctly, it wouldn't be so badly warped. We could have really gone pretty far out with this thing, but we're not really sure. We dabbled between wanting to get an actual pool and then just keeping this one in here for convenience, because it is very convenient. So we don't know. A lot of things going on all at once. The only way the stock pump setting would ever work long term is if you put this inside a house. Like if you had a room, who has that much room just free to put a 20-foot pool there? No, it's gonna go outside. So just know that out of the gate, the little stock pumps, they're garbage. And when I say the stock filter is inadequate, I mean it's inadequate. It can't pump in near the amount of water it's needed. The filters have to be cleaned daily. It was a daily struggle to clean these filters. It was terrible. I hated it. The only thing that is worth anything in that pool setup is the actual pool liner itself. Secondly, we did put an initial revamp video of this where we used the initial stock hose fittings and plugged it right into this. So you can just drop this in right then immediately and then install something else like this later. But really, I would just try and combo it all together. This is the Hayward skimmer. We have a video on installing it. It is a do-it-all, much better flow. And this is considering I had the sample. A lot of people ask why I didn't go ahead and put the waterfall system in with the inlet nozzles that we replaced down here, and why I just kind of kept this thing. This thing filtered better than my other setup, a lot better. You could tell the circulation was so much better. Pool stayed cleaner for longer. It was just a better overall system. And so at that point in time, I really chose to steer away from the waterfall system or the bottom inlet systems. Just the thing is great. And on top of that, we're going to show you here in a little bit. This just had a vacuum attachment. That's all it had. So we have a video on this coming out really shortly on how we vacuum and how it did, but this just goes in here like so. Plugs in there, you turn it on, you make sure it's suctioning, and it cleans the pool it's the best vacuum ever. It was way better than the inlets. I mean, it's really just a small, simplistic, very, very, economically friendly, cost-effective system. It would save your whole pool, the whole thing. And then just the ability to vacuum and maintenance the pool, which we're obviously gonna have to do today because some storm came through and some more stuff came in there. That's a pair of somebody's shorts back there. I don't know whose shorts that is. It's kind of weird. But the ability to use actual pool attachments like this one, which I broke, but for example's sake, it's got the brushes to knock up the dirt. It's got the cover area to kind of keep the dirt enclosed in it while it has time to suction it through the hole. Other attachments like this one, which is a long bristle brush with the attachment, the suction in there, which I personally like for the contoured edges, because the flat edges got everything else, but the contoured edges I used a brush. So I would get both attached, or deviation of both, obviously the long aluminum pole. So you can actually start using some pool-like things in here. And we got this, I think this is 1 1/4 inch, 1 1/8 inch or 1.5 inch hosing. I don't know what the actual inlet is, but it's like the smaller hose, the smaller, lighter hose. I got that from Lowe's. Then I'm getting a bigger one to actually pump out the water. Have a hose attachment or deviation that'll actually pump out the water like conveniently away from your property so you don't have any damage to the property line. We did have some overflow issues, and we did have some other things that happened over the course of, I think, 3 years now, and some of the property line it's fine, but you know, it's in jeopardy. It's too saturated. You never know what happened. Thankfully, we have really hard soil here that doesn't absorb water and change too much, but it is a little scary when you have a house on here and you have a pool that if something happened, it would just deflate. Another thing is the liner. I would get 303 vinyl protectant or a reconditioning spray, and I would spray all this and recondition it. It'll save you. It really will save you long term. You don't really have to worry about a lot of vinyl degradation because the water cools it, but it's what you really got to worry is the top part where there's no water touching it. You do have to go in there with a vinyl protectant like 303, and I'm actually looking at it, need to do that maybe today. So it's something you need to think about. See that thing down there? That thing is what they give you to try and vacuum. And all that thing does is push water through to redirect water into a little mesh bag, and all that does is pick up large debris. It does not pick up any of the fine sand or soot later, like what you see here. And the bigger thing about that, there was no way to vacuum it. Like right now, I have a vacuum thing in here, a real one, for an actual pool with the Hayward skimmer attachment all the way back there that kind of fits right into the skimmer. We're talking about the skimmer. Even without the skimmer, when I just had the waterfall set up, I still had inlets that actually sucked in water and were able to do this. I would immediately just got this sand filter.
Another fantastic product I think everybody should have for one of these pools is this Rocky Rocker. They sent this to me. It's a standalone vacuum that needs no hose attachment, sucks out no water, none of that mess. Doesn't have to run through the filter. It just stands alone, runs and vacuums everything else. The cool thing about it though is it's battery operated, rechargeable, waterproof, and you can completely just maintenance and clean the filter right at the top right there. It has a waterproof button. It just attaches to the net pole, just like how you would have to do it to the regular one anyways. You just stick that in there, you make sure it's working, you see the water actively pumping out the filter, and you just let it run down and you watch it do its thing. It doesn't get the fine sand grits, so a lot of that does actually go right through the filter, but in terms of all the large debris, the bugs, the sticks, like that, the nonsense, the leaves, all that stuff, it gets all that very well. I'll leave a link in the description and pinned in the comment section for this product if you want to check it out.
Let's see what it got. Comes off of these clasps right here. Yeah, it got all that debris legitimately in there. That's a pretty generous suction port, so that's where it's coming in. That's gonna suck up a fairly big piece. I mean, I got all that. This is the strainer here, and that does capture a lot. It's not gonna capture the ultra fine stuff, but it still caught a lot of stuff. So you can see that in there. So it's got two filters. So the pressure gauge is not working. So there's a filter. This thing's broken. It reads no pressure. It screws out like nothing. Kind of scary how fast it screws out. But this thing reads no pressure, which is not great. Got a brand new one. Wish I could get a de facto one, but what's better than nothing? Let's go ahead and replace that. It doesn't screw in. The back thing is too big, so I gotta go see if I can find another one. All right, guys and gals, so we got our filter running right now, and it's running well. It's running great, no problems. Except for what happened? It started to work. Is that really happening? So this gauge wasn't working for the longest time. So I bought a new one. At first I bought this one. I thought a standard pressure gauge, clean filter, whatever would just be fine, but this one is actually way too big if you look, just in case you have to replace it. See the threads? Night and day. Sort of times and lengths. So specifically I looked on eBay and found this Intex replacement pressure gauge. So I'm gonna just keep this in my repertoire because this was not working for like a long time. Just now starts to work. Whatever. Okay, I was gonna do a whole video. All right, guys, so that wraps up the entire season for this year. It's spring's fastly approaching. I don't know when I'll have more time to do videos, but I do love this channel, and I do appreciate all of you. My other channel soaks up most of my life, but we're trying to transition people in there to just kind of handle that so I can do more things on this channel and get other projects going. So thank you much for supporting me in this whole pool venture. I hope that these videos help you out in return, and stay tuned for a lot of the non-pool related content that we got coming out for this channel. Stay tuned, big stuff.